So my name is Angela Ning, the General Manager of IA Global London office. And IA Global is a leading provider of international student recruitment. Today, we are talking about psychology with Keele University. So it's our pleasure to have some key staff from Keele University to be our presenters today. We are having Dr. Qingyu Huang, the course lecturer, and also Daniel Rutter, the student recruitment officer here. So let me kick off a quick introduction about our company, IA Global. We started as a very single office in Seoul, South Korea. Over 29 years, IA Global has become one of the largest and the most diverse student recruitment organizations in the world. We have become an industry leader in the international student recruitment. The scale of international reach of our network means we can offer recruitment experts in a variety of countries. It also means that we have close relationship with and also better knowledge about the universities and institutions around the world, like the Keele University. So here is our London office contact details. Please feel free to contact us. And if you have any questions or you are interested in know how to apply for Keele University, and please let us know as well. So now, without any further ado, I will turn the time to Dr. Huang.
Thank you very much, Angela, and hello, good morning, afternoon, evening to everybody, wherever you are. Hi, my name is Dr. Huang, Qingyu Huang, and I am a lecturer at Keele University in the School of Psychology. Sorry, I'm just trying to get to share my screen. Can you see the screen? I hope so. Can you see the slides?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Yeah, so, well, my name is Qingyu Huang. I joined Keele as a faculty member in developmental psychology in 2019. So I'm still quite new to Keele, but I can really share with you what brings me here and what I love about the School of Psychology here, and just a little bit about my background. So I am originally from Taiwan. I completed my bachelor degree in Taiwan, and then I came to the UK to do my postgraduate degree in MSc in forensic psychology. And then after that, I joined Cambridge University to do my PhD. So I finished my PhD, went back to Taiwan, worked with Ministry of Justice and the National Taiwan University for some more research, and then moved to San Diego to do some more research. And then I decided that I wanted to come back to England. So yeah, that's how I kind of jotted around the globe and then decided that I want to come back to UK. And Keele is the place that I decided that I would settle for some time, at least several years. Well, that is quite normal for academics, moving around, okay? So settling here for several years is a really good thing. But anyway, so I'll tell you in this presentation about what is so unique about Keele psychology and what we do here, and so what you can expect to learn from your lecturers here, and also what you can expect from your psychology education here. So this first slide is showing you the building of where psychology is. This is the Dorothy Hodgkin building. And my office is somewhere there behind, not in the front side, but at the back side of that building. So that's where you will be taking a lot of your lectures and having a lot of lab sessions. And if you participate as a participant in the experiment, which you will be doing in order to familiarize yourself with psychology from different points of view. So you will be spending a lot of time here. And of course, you will have, we have a student lounge or a common room where students can hang out and chat to each other. And there's also a lot of computer rooms where you can use the computer there or just find a space to study for yourself in this building. So there's plenty of space, and that's also where faculty members, their offices are there. So you will get to meet your tutors in their office hours, or if you have questions, and sometimes you can just knock on our doors and come in and have a chat with us. Of course, pending COVID situation being safe. And this is the, well, campus of Keele is, well, the largest single site campus university in the UK. So we have a big and beautiful, very green campus. So it's a very nice community. So here I show you the map. These communities that has colors on are actually staff accommodation. I used to live in one of those, but I just moved a little bit further away, but still very close to the university. And here are student accommodations, this lots and another lots here and another lots here. So these are student and staff member live, all of them, many of them who would choose to live on campus would be in a really nicely, closely knit community. So that is really a nice way of living, and you get to see your lecturers sometimes. You bump into them in the coffee shop, you bump into them in the grocery, which may be intimidating in the beginning, but it can actually be nice, because then it makes everybody more human, especially in this everything digitized world. So it makes us all more human. And so it's really a community that supports our physical as well as mental health. And Keele being so green is really nice, especially during the pandemic. I mean, I joined Keele right before the pandemic outbreak. So I spent all the lockdown pandemic time in Keele, and I am still enjoying it. And it says a lot about how the environment makes you feel healthy and integrated. And this picture that here is staff accommodation, which I used to live in. So yeah, just to show you that you can find this building. I no longer live there, but it's there. And we really watch out for each other. During the pandemic time, me and other colleagues, we actually sometimes help students who are quarantining in their accommodation, that they don't have families here. We actually help them and deliver some grocery shopping for them to help them when they cannot go out. So we really help out and watch and look out for each other. So we value this kind of community spirit to work, especially through hard times. And why do you want to study psychology? Well, I am aware that probably not all of us are going to be in like counselors or psychotherapists or clinical work. There's a lot of things that we can really apply psychology for. Well, of course, first, psychology is a science. It's a social science. It's also a physical and hardcore science, especially when it comes to measuring your brain waves and neural imaging. So you actually use scientific ways to understand human behavior. And it's a science domain that generates knowledge. So you can do research in the future with psychology. And you can also use your knowledge about people, how people grow, how people learn. You can apply that in the education setting or delivering training. So this is also another area that you can go into in the future with your psychology degree. And of course, if you are more interested in the clinical application, you can go into mental health or physical health, working with the hospital or other clinics. So you can go into the clinical route. And of course, like the work that I do, which I will tell you a little later, we can also provide advice, evidence-based advice to governments or other international bodies about how to best investigate, for example, when crime happens. So knowing how human memory works, knowing how human behavior and patterns work, we know how to maybe investigate better and how to prevent crimes better, for example. So we can use our knowledge to advise best practice or policy. And we can also be, therefore, employed as expert witness and to be in court. So we can present our evidence at court to advise the judges, advise the jury what evidence are believable and what are reliable. So these are all things that we can do with our psychology knowledge. So I'll just give you some flavors of a few things what our colleagues are doing. So this colleague of mine, Dr. Sam Andrews, we actually study in the same lab in Cambridge, and she does the work on children's cross-examination in court. So she has a lot of experience examining children's how they are being cross-examined at court and the procedure of the legal support, what kind of special measures are in the legal procedure to support children, and are these measures actually effective in helping children be a more competent witness at court. So this is the line of her research. And this is my line of research. So I look at biases that can happen in investigation. So I work with the police, I work with the government, Ministry of Justice in Taiwan, for example, to help advise them about what is the best procedure for witness testimony and witness identification, and what kind of cognitive factors can even affect forensic science's work. So if we think about fingerprint examination, usually when you look at like CSI or that kind of investigation TV series, you think everything is computerized. You think, oh, human has no role in this process. No, human has a lot of roles in this process. Even the computer, they can tell you the percentage of match. Finally, it's still the human expert that needs to make decision about whether to proceed with this suspect or not. So these things are still coming down to human process and human decision making. And knowing psychology, we can really help to advise and to identify where biases can happen, so that biases can be prevented and the effect can be mitigated. And this is another colleague, Dr. Masi Noor. He studies forgiveness. So this lady, the pictures here show that she was holding a picture of her son who was killed in the war. And she said that, please don't revenge in the name of my son. And herself can forgive the person and the war and the government of the country that decided to launch the war, and where she lost her son. But the least thing that she wants is people using that as an excuse to revenge and kill more people. So how do we forgive? What is the process and what is the reasoning behind all these forgiveness? And is forgiving beneficial for your mental health, or is forgiving actually hard and not very good for your mental health? So these are the kind of study that he does. And so he wrote a very beautiful picture book and also very research informed. So I highly recommend you reading this book. It's really easy to read and it has pictures, so it's not difficult to read at all. So I highly recommend this book. So after reading it, you will have a little more idea about what is the process of forgiveness and what are the benefits of forgiveness. And another line of research that we have is actually in the cognitive neuroscience field. So this is work done by Dr. Joseph Brooks. So he studied perception. So how do we distinguish backgrounds from the object? For example, a very good example of the application of research is now, if you look at the Zoom meeting these days, and sometimes we can apply the background filter and blur out the background. So how does the computer know where is your facial feature, where is your human body, and where do they cut out the background? So the computer needs to know how to distinguish between the object that they want to present in the screen and the background and apply these filters. So this actually comes down to basic research like visual perception. How do we in a human perception process distinguish the background from the foreground and the object? So knowing how human the neuron do this distinction, then the computer scientists, they can actually mimic these process of how neuron make these decisions and how these distinctions are made, and apply that to the computer program. So you can see these days, these background filters are getting better and better. It's because we also understand human perception better and better. So yeah, so this kind of work, visual perception, is what he does. And now he also applies this to stroke patients who had a stroke. So a stroke has a blood clot in their brain. So that can affect how they perceive, how their visual perception is after the stroke. So it can affect your facial recognition. It can affect your arm movement or speech or time perception, and even your perception of your body parts can be changed after a stroke. So he used technologies like EEG, which you can see here, like putting electro cap on your head. It sounds really scary, but it is not. Believe me, I have been in experiments with the EEG. It's basically wearing a hat that has a lot of sensors. The sensors are there to record your brain waves in each part of the brain so that they can map the activities in your different brain areas. So this is the kind of technology and the kind of equipment that we have in the School of Psychology. Other than EEG, we also have eye trackers, work done by Dr. Sarah Spratono, and we also have TMS, transcranial magnetic stimuli. So we also have all these cutting edge, really first class in the world research equipments. So we have a very strong cognitive neuroscience group in our school. So other than the kind of research, of course, research informs our teaching practice, because if you think about that, you are being taught by these world-leading experts in the field. So you are really learning the latest knowledge in the field. You're learning from the expert because, you know, when the textbooks are published, they are already 1 or 2 years out of date. And these days, research can progress really quickly. So it's easier and more up to date if you are taught directly by the experts in this field. So this is why I would highly recommend joining us in psychology at Keele, because you would be really taught by world-leading experts in different fields. And we have a very unique teaching portfolio. So if you come as an undergraduate student, you can choose to study single honor psychology, so straight psychology, and you will be taught on BPS accredited modules. So like core modules like developmental psychology, social psychology, cognitive psychology, neuroscience, and forensic psychology, and of course, research methods and statistics. So these are like important basic areas in psychology that you need to study. And there's also a lot of optional modules, optional courses that you can take, depends on your interest. And we do offer a wide variety of courses that you can choose from. So go onto our website and download the prospectus and download there's like module specification, so you can really see the kind of variety that we offer here at School of Psychology at Keele. And you can also do psychology with placement year. So that means in your third year of study, you would do a placement, and then you will come back to study your final year and do your final year dissertation, which is a mini research project after your placement. So usually the psychology single honor is 3 years, but with placement, it will be 4 years. And also you can choose to do study abroad. So kind of equivalent to the placement year, rather than placement year, you would actually choose to study abroad. But study abroad can be as short as a few months, a few weeks to a year. So this is really up to you where you want to take your career to. And you can also do psychology with counseling, psychology with education, or psychology with any other combined honors that is offered at the University of Keele. And Keele has a wide range of other bachelor programs that you might find interesting. So for example, I have students doing psychology with criminology, psychology with forensic investigation, psychology with English literature. So you can do, the options are almost limitless, I would say, because Keele does have a lot to offer. And of course, our psychology undergraduate program is accredited by British Psychological Society. That means if you want to go on to practice as a practitioner with your bachelor degree, you have met the basic requirement for training as a psychologist. So then later on, when you want to do, say, counseling or forensic or whatever other clinical psychology, you just need to go on to more specified training. So you already fulfill the basic psychology requirement. So that would save you time in the future to get accredited if you are to take a psychology degree in a not accredited institution. So this will save you some time and effort, and the psychology training we provide here is really solid. And as postgraduates, you have choices in, at the moment, you have choices in child development, MSc in child development, or cognitive neuroscience, or social and political psychology, and MSc in health and inequalities. And in the future, starting actually, yeah, so I need to change this now. It's starting 2023. I am leading a MSc in psychology of forensic investigation. So yeah, because of some admin delay, we need to delay the start. So it's 2023, not 22. So there's also a lot of choices for your postgraduate degree if you choose to do your postgraduate, the master degree here. And our teaching is really research informed. So there's a big big variety of learning modalities. We have blended learning, so we use a mixture of online as well as in-person teaching, and it's very dynamic. So we like to interact with students. So it is really interactive, and there's also a lot of group discussions, seminars and practicals where you actually get to practice what you are being taught, especially like statistics, where you actually need to do and run the programs. So there is a lot of different ways of teaching, and that's what our students also really love about what we are teaching here. And overall, students are really satisfied with our teaching, and we have TEF Gold, if that means anything to you. So TEF Gold is a teaching excellence framework, and that is a framework that is run in the UK higher education institution, and Gold is the highest award that we can get. So students are generally really happy with our teaching. And 95% of the students say that the staff members here are good at explaining things. So you can really expect that staff members here are very clear in their explanation, and they're generally very happy and helpful to help you understand what is really, and if you have questions, just email the staff members. They are very approachable as well. And in terms of our ranking in the world, we are among the top 150 in the world in psychology. So this is the world ranking. It's not, yeah, so it's something we really are proud of. So we are very good in the research that we do, and in the teaching that we provide, and in the quality of the teaching that we provide. Other than, well, outside of psychology, you would also get a lot of support from the student union. And this is the picture of the student union building, which is right at the center of the university, and a huge building. So I think that is a representation of how students are important in this university. They are right at the heart of the university. And I am also working closely with the student union, especially for international students, because I myself had been an international student before, and I chose to study in the UK. I also know the potential challenges that you can face when you are moving from a very different cultural context to come to UK. So I am working closely with the student union to really understand what the international students need, particularly in these days, and how can we better address their needs. And they run a lot of activities. There's film club, book club, and you can even have language courses. And we also have a psychology student society, which also runs career talks and runs just general talks about psychology, which may inspire your interest in going down further routes in psychology. And well, what we are proud of our students, so we really try to provide the trainings that make our students develop in various different ways. So the first thing is really, we want students to appreciate different perspectives. So with the diverse teaching portfolio in Keele psychology, we want students to also know that there's different perspectives, there's different areas in psychology, and one question, you can have a million different ways looking at it, and a million different answers and trying to answer it. And everybody will come up with their own answer and different perspective. So we really want our students to know that and learn how to do that, how to appreciate this. And we cultivate their curiosity. We ask them to ask questions. And asking questions is a really important attribute for your success in the future. especially asking the right questions. And knowing where your perspective is from is also really important. So, and also by asking questions and by listening to other people's questions, you will also learn a lot about yourself and about others. So curiosity. And also we want students to be independent thinkers. We don't just tell you to memorize things. No, that's not the point of higher education. We want you to think, why this scientist is saying this. What is the evidence? What can you tell from the evidence? And is the evidence really supporting your hypothesis? And we want you to critique other people's work and critique your own work so that you know your own limitations, so you know where you can improve. So you will become a more independent, I'm sure you are already, but you will become even more independent thinker after your three years studies in psychology here. And we want you to have critical thinking skills and problem solving skills. And especially in your final year, you will be doing a supervised research project with a chosen supervisor in the area that most likely you would be passionate about. So in that process, you would become a scientist, researcher yourself, that you need to really think critically about how you answer, how you look at the question, how you answer the question, and what kind of research design that you need to do to answer these questions, and how to, if you come across a problem, how do you solve that problem? And this is a really critical skill in today's world, especially critical thinking. Just think about all the information that you come across on the internet. How do you distinguish what information is credible? What information are fake? What is fake news? What is actual real news? And who is telling the information that is actually right and who is telling gibberish? So developing critical thinking is really important, even outside of academia, even outside of your study. It's a daily skill that you need, especially in the world with so much information out there. It's important for us to know what is trustworthy and what is not. And of course, you would also be an effective communicator after your study here. You would be effective communicator, not just in writing, which you would be doing quite a bit of work on. You would be writing essays, you would be writing your dissertation, you would be writing some short answer questions and reports. You would also be communicating orally. So some of our assessments are oral communication, oral presentation. And also some of them are group work. So you need to communicate with your peers, work together with others. And team working is really an important skill to have. No matter where you go in the future, that is an important skill to have. If you want to survive in the human society, you have to communicate with other people. And empathy. So knowing how other people feel and knowing how your action may be impacting on other people's feeling and taking care of other people's feeling as well as your own feeling. That is important. And being empathetic can help you become a better communicator, better leader, better person. And also you will be happier as well. And finally, leadership. With all of these skills, we want you to become the leader of tomorrow. With all the skills that you know about how humans think, how human decision making, how humans behave, and how to change their behavior, how to solve problems, how to communicate. You will be the leader in the field, no matter where you go, knowing the skills, knowing the knowledge about how human works, you would be naturally a leader in the future. So I will conclude my presentation here. So yeah, the best way really for you to be the leader and to have a future that you want is really to create it yourself. And joining psychology at Keele, we will help you to develop that. So thank you very much for your attention. Any questions?
So while we are waiting, Dr. Huang, I just wonder, for psychology student, do you ask him for any portfolio or any background if they are applying for the course?
For an undergraduate level, I don't think so. I think for undergraduate level is a pretty standard kind of application material. Basically, your what is it? The A level. So yeah, so just the standard test results and probably a personal statement maximum. Yeah, but other than that, not much. But if you are applying for a postgraduate degree, then we will ask a little more. We'll ask definitely for your personal statement and perhaps even a mini proposal, what kind of research that you want to do in your master.
Yeah, while you are talking about A level, I think we do have some students, they have the A level background. I know for some undergraduate courses, they might ask him for some specific A level subject, like say they might ask him for mathematics, might ask him for English literature. So for psychology, do you have any require for any specific subject?
Well, I am not in the best position to answer that question because I don't deal with the admin side of things, but I am sure these should be specified in the application page. Yeah, or maybe Daniel will have better information about this.
Yeah, let me just check. I can check on that one and get back to you in a few moments. Let me just double check on our list.
Okay.
Oh, and there is a question in the chat. In addition to research and teaching, what are the quick growing career opportunities for psychology graduate? A lot. Something, especially these days, super hot is behavioral science. What is behavioral science? Well, if you think about Facebook, if you think about Google, all these tech giants, they are collecting data everywhere. They are collecting all your user data, they collect. And they collect these in order to understand how humans make decisions. What kind of ad would you click on when you browse your Facebook? And then after you click on these ads, they will send you more targeted, related ads that is more likely to make you buy something. So these kind of things, behavioral science, big data, analyzing how human decision-making are from data point of view. That is a big field and probably a very profitable field in the future as well. And knowing psychology, this is something that you can definitely do. So that's, I would say it's a growing and it's a hot topic. And also the training would provide with statistics, knowing how to use number crunching to understand how humans make decisions, what kind of group differences are there between, for example, between men and women's consumer behavior. These are all very marketable skills for you if you are interested in a career in the profit or in the private sector. But of course, there would be also other fields like working with the government, advising on policies, these kind of things. Or if you are interested in clinical or working with clients one-on-one, then you can also do clinical or counseling therapy kind of work. So the options are really very wide, yeah.
I'll just come in here as well. I've just double checked on the list and there are no specific requirements for A levels. So in terms of those students who have A levels or an equivalent, then there are no specific subject requirements for those students.
Thank you, Daniel. And Dr. Huang, I just wonder, for the undergraduate student, do you offer any placement or placement year for the students?
So for placement, we have a route of psychology with placement year. So that is something that when students apply, they need to specify that they want to do placement, so that we expect that in their third year, we need to help them identify a placement host for their placement year. So we do have placement year option available, but the students need to apply, and they need to be clear on indicating that they want psychology with placement when they are making their application.
Thank you. There's one more question in the chat box. What's the difference between neuroscience and psychology, and just only psychology? Sorry, I didn't.
So neuroscience is very much, Keele University has neuroscience as well, and it's based in the School of Biology. So they are very biologically focused, more about specific neuroanatomy, which part of the brain is responsible for what, and maybe working with patients and knowing what kind of areas are damaged and how they can maybe do something to help that patients to adjust in the future. And I would say in general, neuroscience is a lot more focusing on the structural anatomy of the brain, and focusing on the molecular level, what kind of neurotransmitter is doing what function in the brain. Whereas if it's psychology with neuroscience or neuropsychology, we focus a lot on the application side. Okay, so how does this brain area function affect your behavior, or affect your language production, affect your language understanding? And we focus more on the application and human behavior side, rather than just the brain, just the brain structure. Hope that makes sense to you.
Thank you, Dr. Huang. I will have a question for Daniel and just carry on what we were talking about just now. So I just wonder, for the Keele University, do you offer any support for the international student when they are coming to the UK for the quarantine and for the red list country, amber list country? So do you have any specific support for it?
Yep. I mean, it's quite complicated. There's quite a lot on our website about it because it's different for different groups. But generally speaking, for those coming from the red list countries, then we do offer basically a refund on fees equivalent to the costs that you've paid out for quarantine. So generally speaking, for 10 days quarantine, it's 1,750. We will then deduct that amount off your fee. So we are paying for those red list countries. We are paying for your quarantine, and we're also paying for your transport to get to the university as well. For amber list, we're paying basically for the transport and then the quarantine within the campus. So for each level, basically, we do have a full support package, but I go onto our website just to have a look at all the details, but it's worth up to £2,000 basically. So it's a really generous offer, and it's there for those students coming in September. So as long as you can get to Keele, we will do the rest basically, and we will support you. And as Dr. Huang was saying earlier, we do a lot of support, within the department, and you've obviously seen that it's a real close community. And I was interested to hear about the support that's going on, obviously during the lockdown, and support for the students with the staff and those sorts of things, which I think gives the students hopefully here today an example of how things work at Keele, and the sort of focus on community that we do have. So that's something that hopefully the students can take advantage of in September.
Thank you, Daniel. We have some more questions in the chat box. How difficult is it for international students to get scholarship to study psychology?
Well, I think maybe Daniel would be in a better position to answer this question about the kind of funding generally available to international students.
Yeah, there are a number of scholarships. Now, just very briefly, again, everything's on our website. If you just Google or just Baidu, I think probably from Shintong Tian. If you just Baidu Keele and scholarships, you'll find some information on our website. But generally speaking, for some countries, we have a developing countries scholarship. And then for undergraduate students, if you exceed our entrance requirements, you will get the scholarship of up to £2,500. And for postgraduate students, that will depend on your level of degree. So if you have a first class degree, you would get 5,000 for 2-1 equivalent, 2,500. And then for 2-2 equivalent, 1,000. So there's all sorts of different scholarships going on, and there's British Council scholarships. But generally speaking, you could get up to 5,000 towards your course. But have a look on our website where you'll find all the full details on how to apply as well.
Thank you, Daniel. And
well, I think sometimes it also depends on the country where the applicants are from.
Exactly,
because some countries the applicants are from, their government may provide support. Like when I was doing my PhD, I got support from the Taiwanese government Ministry of Justice. They provide scholarship. So, I mean, there's, other than the university, I would really encourage all the applicants to look at your own country's government, and they might have scholarships for students to study abroad. So yeah, do kind of do a search yourself and see what kind of resources are there. Of course, we here at Keele, we provide some support, but there are also other supports available. And it would be really great for students to be resourceful and to look for opportunities and resources as well. And I think there's another question about any psychology online courses, and the courses, are they practical or are they theory based? A very brief answer to this, it depends. So there are different modules, and some modules are delivered more online, and some modules are delivered mixture online and in person, especially in the past year. During the lockdown, nothing was delivered in person. So I think in this coming September, we are aiming to have blended learning. So there will be a mixture of online and in-person courses. So it depends on the module that you're taking, but I think you should expect to have both. And are they practical or theory-based? Again, it depends on the course. So if the course is, for example, developmental psychology, that could be quite theory, and social psychology, these are more theory-based. We talk about theories, and we may talk about the application of the theories in the real-world context and use real examples, real case examples for you to understand it better. But the concept about these developmental psychology or social psychology, how group works, how people, the different groups relationship works, these are very theory driven. But courses like statistics, that is very practical. So you will get a lecture about the principles of statistics and the kind of analysis, and then you also get practical classes where you actually would do things in practice and run the statistics program to help you understand how this works and what this number means. And there are also courses that, like forensic psychology, these are very theory as well as applied. So psychology of the witness testimony, these are very applied, and we will use real world examples and perhaps even some interview transcripts to let you see what goes on in the field. So yeah, they are a mixture, depends on the course.
Thank you very much, Dr. Huang. The last questions from me, and what kind of students are you looking for to studying with you, studying in Keele for psychology?
What kind of students? Students who are curious.
Okay.
Who are curious and driven and want to find out answers themselves. That's the kind of students we love.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Huang. Daniel, do you have anything you want to end up?
No, just a quick thank you to everybody for joining us today. Thank you very much to Dr. Huang. Obviously, I think we've seen some of the reasons there that psychology is so popular at the moment at Keele, and obviously for those students who are looking to join us in September, please go onto our website where you'll find details on how to apply, or obviously we accept UCAS applications if you're in the UCAS system, and we look forward to seeing you in September. And obviously thank you very much to Angela and the team for hosting today and inviting your clients along, and thanks for your support throughout. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you everyone.
Thank you everyone. Thanks for joining us. Thank you.
I hope to see you and welcome you in person in September.
Yeah, so if you want to apply for Keele or you want to apply for psychology, please contact us and we are here to help. Thank you all. Bye for now.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.